What is up, guys? This is the Spoon Dude back with another custom figure showcase. This time I will be showing off my custom lizard figure. Now, the base figure for this figure... whatever, let's keep going. Alright, so the base of this figure is an Amazing Spider-Man from the 2012 movie. Lizard figure from that set of Walmart exclusive action figures. And obviously it was a movie version, and kind of like the Electro, if you've seen that video as well, I wanted to turn him into a more comic one because he was in my comic display and I had no use for a movie lizard. Alright, so for the head, I shaved off his face and then basically just went to sculpting that whole thing. I started by adding kind of like base for these structures. I didn't want to just make this all out of Sculpt, so I got some action figure stands, cut them out, and I made triangle shapes, glued it to the head, and then sculpted over that so that it was stable, and that turned out pretty good. And you can see the sculpt here. I sculpted to obviously the lizard. I was kind of going for that Todd McFarlane look. I was looking at one piece of artwork in particular. I'll try to put it over if I can. And this isn't actually the original head I had on this guy. Before I still sculpted or whatever, but it turned out much worse, and so I went back and resculpted after having done more figures and kind of sculpting better. So that first one, I'll try to put a picture. You'll find it on my Instagram as well. It didn't look that great, so I redid it into this. The look of that McFarlane monster look. I sculpted his brow, and there's some texture going on there. Not a crazy, like, realistic amount, but, you know, pretty happy. It's obviously just a bunch of shades of green, dry brushed over black. I think that turned out really well. His teeth I cut out from action figure plastic packaging, and then just stuck them in while the clay was still not dry. And then the tongue is from just cut out from, I think, a Doctor Strange skirt piece, which was fodder, and obviously painted. I used some gloss on the mouth. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that right there for his kind of wet teeth, so I'm pretty happy about that. I painted the eyes gold as well. I originally painted them yellow, but I liked how the gold kind of stood out, made them pop. So really happy with this. The only problem is it's kind of big for this body. You can see like his proportions. It's a little bit hidden by the lab coat, which is kind of the point, but yeah, he's got a massive head. And just for comparison, here he is next to Spider-Man's head. That's huge, but what are you gonna do? Alright, so without the lab coat, you can see I resculpted the shoulders and limits articulation as a result, but with this big old head and stuff, kind of needed to be bulkier. Back, I sculpted it to be bigger, and I bulked up his torso, bulked up his arms as well. I repainted the whole figure though, just base black and then dry brush greens, and then I have the lighter shade on his torso. Alright, so for the clothes, you can see they're cloth. I just sort of winged it, try to make pants that are ripped. And they're not great, but, you know, because they're supposed to be ripped pants, I think I got away with it. And then the lab coat, I actually didn't have any white cloth. I used a red cloth that I had and just painted it white. And there you go, you can see some of the thread. That's red. You can see it's all tattered up and terrible looking. You know, on the back there's just a big hole. So in putting the lab coat on, you can see, I think it hides some of the weird proportions. Tail, I did repaint. Yeah, that just goes on the back. He has a hole in his pants. And yeah, that's the lizard, if he could stand. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this figure. That's just to get a measurement. Ease I don't know how to give this measurement. Let's see. When he's fully stood up, he's at 8 inches, or just below 8 inches, which is quite a lot for a lizard. He's quite of a monster, but you know, he'll be crouched down for the most part, and his arms like this. So when you get him down to this pose, he's only like 6.5 inches, depending where you put his head. So there's that. For a quick size comparison, here he is next to Spider-Man, my custom Spider-Man. I'll try to put the card or whatever. So you can see, I also want to show off the comparison, obviously, but I also wanted to quickly show off some changes I did to this custom since that video. Again, check out the card. I resculpted the hair on the unmasked Peter Parker, and I think it looks better than it did before, and repainted the face. It looks a little bit more natural. So there's that, and I also gave him an unmasked mask. Back to Lizard. I'm pretty happy with this figure. You can see there's all sorts of paint detail in the skin with the green. That was really fun. And sculpting the head was pretty fun too. I might not have mentioned, I also resculpted this back part so it was more bulky to match his head, and you can see I tried to put some detail there. So yeah, I really like how the head sculpt turned out. It's not the best head sculpt, it's not the best lizard head sculpt ever, but if I showed the picture of what it looked like before, like my previous sculpt of this, you know, you can see why I'm much happier with this one. And the body's pretty cool. He has a lot of articulation, just that's the way he came. So he's a pretty good lizard figure, and I don't feel I need to try to rush to get a Build-A-Figure or the expensive Toy Biz one. I am decently happy with this one. Alright, so that is the video. I'm looking at it and it's 10 minutes long. Hopefully I can cut it down to be much shorter than that. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the next custom showcase, stop motion, or whatever video I do. Alright, thanks. Oh, leave a like and subscribe. Alright, now.